Hi again, and welcome back to week 2 of our Captura Classroom Summer Success Series, making sure you're ready for your fall. I'm Lucy Richards, the Product Marketing Manager here at Captura. So hopefully you joined us last week where we focused on product setup, making sure your packages and feature products were structured to give families the kind of shopping experience they actually want. And we also explored some powerful new tools like My Designs for digital downloads and the post feedback checkout that can help you adapt and grow to what your parents want. So this week, we're going to take it that one level deeper because it's not just about what you offer, it's about how you present and price it as well. So we're going to be talking about your price sheet, not just how it looks with categories like we talked about last week, but also how it sells. Because when it's done right, your price list isn't just a menu of products, it's your whole pricing strategy in action and one of the most powerful revenue levers in your business. A well-designed price list drive higher average order values. It can nudge parents towards your most profitable bundles or packages, and it can make upsells feel helpful and like good options rather than something pushy. So let's get into it and break down how to do it. So let's start with some strategy. So structuring your price list for value, not just for you, but for your parents. So are you listing your products or are you guiding families towards the outcome you want via your price list? We obviously talked about categories last week to simplify choices. Make sure you go back to Capture Class if you did miss it. But now we're going to build on that idea that turning your price sheet into a guided value path is going to be a great experience for your parents. It's also one of the simplest and most effective ways to get your parents to buy, your best package. So this leads me into the next thing we're going to talk about, which is a proven thing that is done throughout e-commerce and retail, which is good, better, and best pricing. So as we covered in week 1, families are often shopping fast on their mobile devices between work and after school pickups and clubs and everything they need to get done. And they want options, but they also want clarity and help with that speedy checkout experience. A good, better, best structure gives both. So it helps parents compare, choose, and check out with confidence, knowing that they've got exactly what they wanted without having to trawl through many different options. It removes that confusion, highlights value, and subtly encourages families to spend just that little bit more for that perceived benefit. So it's a win for your customer experience and it's a win for your revenue, which, never a bad thing. So in addition to organizing your price list by category, like we did last week, we can look at this good, better, best option and challenge you to tier your offerings in that kind of way. So a good option for budget conscious families, a better option with popular add-ons, and a best option that includes your most profitable bundle that can help drive your revenue. This is, again, like I said, a proven tactic used in retail, other e-commerce sites, and even restaurant menus because it drives the buyer's decisions and helping them relieve that decision fatigue. So most parents will naturally gravitate towards the middle or top tier, especially when you position it as the best value. So that's using your good, best, and better. But you can also use this with something called price anchoring, helping that visual framing in the shopping cart. So using your clear tiers to structure your packages, we can build on that. Last week, hopefully you saw it, we introduced the cross-out pricing and the product badges that are in the upcoming release as new tools to help draw attention and create urgency. So what better than this week to help use what we're talking about and apply those visual tools to this new idea of price anchoring. So you want to increase the perceived value of your products, but without always discounting. There is a trick to that. Using that higher price package as an anchor, so your anchor package, to make mid-tier options feel like a great deal. And then you can draw their attention to your ideal option with the badges that say best value or most popular, using that slight layout contrast, maybe having your anchor content in the middle, and then a simple explanation using copy of why that's the smartest choice. Obviously, using Captura workflow makes this incredibly easy to set up. You can apply these badges, reorder your offers with just a few clicks and dragging around in the shopping cart. So yes, while obviously the pricing matters, how it looks on the page matters just as much. We are going to touch on that pricing as well, because we would be amiss to miss out gaps for optimizing buyers. So while we want to have a visual look, we want to make sure that visually they can see no gaps within the pricing. So for example, you may have a great entry level package and a top tier package. But you want to make sure there's something in between, because otherwise you could be leaving money on the table. For example, I'm just going to use $30 and $80, but say your packages have big jumps in between, say 30 to 80. Parents who are ready to spend more, but not as much more, might drop out. Instead, creating that middle tier or a few middle tiers, like a $50 bundle, will help catch those middle buyers who may have been the kind of buyer who abandoned their cart. It will create a want for those buyers to come back, and it will also smooth out your spending curve, helping your average order. These simple adjustments often result in a noticeable lift in average order value. So you can imagine adding a few of these things and seeing that little lift every time with new things. And, let's not forget, you don't have to get this perfect first time round. You don't have to put every single thing into your shopping cart if you're not confident with it first up. One of the best things about Captura workflow is that you can test different price sheets on different jobs or even different points in a job. So this is using stages. I want to touch on it here because this is where you can do some of your testing. But next week, we'll actually be doing a better, bigger, deeper dive in stages. So stay tuned next week to delve into how you do that. But using stages to test with different prices is a great thing to do. So for example, you want to try a new bundle structure, you want to tweak pricing a little bit, maybe without discounts, maybe just for a short amount of time. You want to reorder your layout and test to see which layout ends up being more profitable for you. No problem. You can do that by creating stages inside your jobs and adding different shopping carts that may even have slight tweaks on them. If you're not sure where to start with some of these things, reach out to your CSM. These are quite easy things to set up once you know how to do, and they can help, but your CSM can help you review your past job data and suggest small experiments with big upsides that you can take part in. This also leads us on to, adding upsells into your shopping cart. So not only have you structured it well with your categories, not only have you looked at your pricing, not just the dollar value, but adding that perceived value in. So creating differences between tiers, guiding the parent through your shopping cart, but making sure that their enhancements and options that are inside these well-placed packages are working hard for you. So inside your options, as we've talked about before, you have powerful upgrades like background removal, background choice, braces removal, teeth whitening, all of the above that can be added to upsells within your price list, within products and packaging, not just things you have to set up beforehand and you go through. These are things you can allow your parents to do, and you can add a price to this and give them what they want, adding a bit of value and making sure they're making the right decisions for their child. So with Captura, you can automate this, prompt these upsells in the shopping cart when it makes the most sense, at the point of buying the package, at the end, giving them different bundles to pick from, based on what the parent's already buying, rather than upselling generally before they've even picked their package or product. So imagine a parent adds a digital package to their shopping cart. Instead of then having to search for any add-ons or go back to something they've seen before, the cart can automatically suggest a complete the look, with an AI edit bundle, for example. This could be changing the background. This could be adding on a My Designs, which is obviously a new feature as well, to changing any of the AI editing. So like I said before, teeth whitening, brace removal. We have a whole list of these things that might be right for a parent at one time, but maybe don't want to be done on all photos that you might do before they see them in the shopping cart. You can automate these through the post checkout. So it's a zero effort thing, because once it's picked in the shopping cart, this can be done on the back end without you manually having to do it. And then it will replace the image ready to send off to your parents or the labs to have it printed. So zero effort, maximum return. This is exactly the kind of low effort but high impact pricing structure, add-on structure, that just adds polish, increases satisfaction for your parents, and ultimately boosts your average order value. Again, to learn more about this, we have got other webinars or videos where we've talked about using AI editing to increase your average order value. So make sure you check those out on captura.io in our resources and Captura Cast section. I do want to touch back on something that we talked about last week, which was the new addition to the shopping cart, which is the new promotional banner. So last week we talked about it highlighting discounts. So you can use this in so many different ways to highlight changes in your shopping cart. So like we talked about last week with, say, free shipping ends on Friday, or BYO on digitals, or $10 off print packages until such and such a date. You can also tie into everything we've talked about here. So you can highlight this added value you have with new tiers, your mid-level bundles, even some upsells within your packages. So if you've added new upsells inside a digital, or the My Designs in digital, you can have this inside your banner. So it's a great thing to help you if you've done some of these things to change your pricing, your visual look of your pricing structure. You can add new messages such as, new best value bundle now available. Try our new 50 cent, probably don't do it that cheap, but $50 essentials pack just added, or looking for flexibility, check out our build your own option. There's so many ways to use this banner that doesn't just always have to be about discounts. Parents like to know that there's that added value, that they can see different options, and using a discount isn't the only way to draw their eyes in. Using these banners or the promotional badges or anything like that is just a subtle but effective way to reinforce your pricing strategy, guide your parents' purchasing decisions, and make sure parents notice these upgrades that you've made. So not just discounts, as I said, but pricing structure differences. Not everything has to be tied to a discount, but using these promotional things, banners and badges, can be the promotion. So hopefully that has given you a bit of a look around this week in looking at pricing setup. So not just your categories and your actual setup of how it looks, but how you can look at pricing strategy to change how your parents are guided through. So at the end of this week too, there's a couple of things we can look at, takeaways that you want to have a look at inside your shopping cart and inside your price list. So maybe have a look at your upselling with enhancements. Maybe add one AI enhancement to your price list and your shopping cart and see how your parents respond to it. Have a review of your pricing tiers. Have a look at your packages. Test maybe a good, better, best structure. Look at filling any gaps in between your packages to catch those mid-range buyers. Highlight your anchor package that people can have a look with and look at their other options around it. So use those visual cues as badges, as promotional banners. Make sure that's turned on once it's been released this week, and create those time-sensitive carts to make sure people feel like they're not missing out on something. Again, remember, small tweaks can create really big wins. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. there's just a few strategic changes, even mini ones, to your pricing structure that can have a huge impact on what families spend and how confident they feel when they're doing it. So again, if you would like help reviewing any of your current setup or brainstorming your next test that you would like to do, your CSM is waiting there to help you. So hopefully with the last 2 weeks, your product catalog is all set to go. Now your pricing can be dialed in, and you'll join us next week where we'll shift gears just a little bit to the operational side. So looking at how to set up jobs the most efficient way, how to use automation the most efficient way, and to help you scale your jobs with just less stress, because that's what everyone is wanting. So thank you so much for joining. Hopefully there's some good tidbits in here that can help you prep for your fall season, which is just around the corner. And hopefully you'll join us next week for week 3, your job setups and automation. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week. Good luck with everything. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much.